it's Marji from Okemo Valley Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us this month. We have 3 guests today. We're going to start off with Courtney, the new owner of the Pettigrew Inn in Ludlow. Then we're going to talk with Jeff, from the general manager, the president of Magic Mountain. And then the commissioner of tourism, Wendy Knight, will be here. So let's start off the show welcoming Courtney. Welcome to the chamber and welcome to the region. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
There's so much people want to know. Like, who are you? Where did you come from? Why Ludlow? Why Andre Rosen? So,
well, I grew up in a small town. I grew up in Juneau, Alaska. So I am a big fan of mountains, trees, snow, cold weather, all of that. And when I left Alaska, moved on, went to university in Chicago, went to university in DC, lived all over the world doing hotels, and I really missed the small town community and the small town vibe. So when I decided after time in big box hotels that I really wanted to do something smaller and a bit more intimate, I started looking at inns and places that I could buy to do my own kind of hospitality thing. And I actually looked all up and down the East Coast, starting in the Carolinas and heading all the way up to northern Maine.
Wow.
And ultimately decided on Vermont because I love it as a state. And ultimately on the Andre Rose Inn, because as you can imagine, trying to buy an inn, it's really about the personality of the property and kind of what you can do with it and the bones and the structure that you can see there. And Andre Rose was just an amazing opportunity for me.
Okay, so have you been in Vermont before this, though?
I actually came up, I had a friend who has a condo at Stratton.
Okay.
So I came up here Columbus Day weekend 2009 was the first time I had come up here. And had a wonderful weekend. Of course, fall foliage was in full swing and it was amazing. But after that, I think maybe one other ski trip and that was it. And then I just started driving around. But you know when you get to a place and you feel it, you know that it's the right place to be.
You feel at home.
Absolutely. And Vermont, for me, that felt, of all the places that I was traveling around, that felt the most home to me.
And that's amazing with all the places all over the world you've lived and worked. So, I mean, that is just amazing to me. Yeah. So now, how did you change the name to Pettigrew? Where does that come from?
Well, Pettigrew Inn, the Pettigrew family moved to Vermont, moved to Ludlow, actually, in 1800 from Massachusetts. In 1801, they opened the first store in Ludlow, and they were actually in the mercantile business for about 100 years. And they owned a lot of the property right in that area, Pleasant and Depot, and in fact had the first grocery store, the grocery store that was at Depot and Main Street. So J.W. Pettigrew and his brother E.G. Pettigrew had that store up until Pettigrew's death in 1901. So the family was very involved in the community, and I really wanted to focus on the heritage of that. They had the house next door to the inn. So I went ahead and focused on the Pettigrew family for the inn as a whole, and then each of the guest rooms are named for different families that lived on Pleasant Street back in the 1860s. And a lot of those names we still see in the community, you know, the Bixbys, the Hemingways, Royce, Atwood, etc.
That's really special that you did that. You know, you took the time and you did the research and you wanted to bring it back to original. I think that's wonderful of you to do. Now, I know you've made a lot of changes. So let's talk about some of them. The first one was the door.
Yes, the door.
I remember the door.
Well, obviously the pink sign went up, and I think that was the talk of the town for a couple of days anyway. And we really have embraced this, what we call Pettigrew pink. The actual color is mulberry jam, but we call it Pettigrew pink. And we've embraced it around the inn. And one of the things that we did, the previous entrance that all of the guests knew and loved was coming in through the kitchen. And I love to have guests come in through the kitchen, and I think they get excited to see it. But at the same time, because I do live at the inn, there's a domestic side to my life that when guests see that, I think the inn kind of loses its magic. So the first thing that we did was actually create a new door for guests to come in right off the same porch, but it is an enormous pink door, so it's very hard to miss. So that was the biggest change I think that we made initially.
Well, and then you did the changes. I remember used to eat outside on the porch, and now you changed that.
We did. We changed some things around. You know, everyone these days, they're on their tablets or e-readers or some type of device.
And you do have Wi-Fi.
And we do have Wi-Fi. It's very good. And when people come down, you know, they come out of their room and they want to sit on their tablet or something like that. they're not necessarily looking for a huge communal space to do that. They want to be around people, but they want to be alone. So one of the things that I did, and it was after speaking with the previous owners about how some of the spaces weren't being used for maximization, we actually changed what was the living room, became the secondary dining room, and what had been the secondary dining room became the sunroom. And we've created some small seating areas that actually get used all the time.
Oh, that's good.
People come down, if they're in a small group, they come and sit and chat, or if it's just somebody who wants to come by themselves and read a book, they come and sit in the corner and do that. So we've actually found that the spaces are used a lot more consistently with some of those small changes that we've made as well.
That's great. Now, what about restaurant dining?
We are hoping, so of course right now we serve breakfast every day to our guests, and we are hoping come ski season to be open on Saturday nights for dinner.
To everyone.
To everyone. We have limited seating, so of course in-house guests are going to get first choice, but we are going to ask them to make reservations. So by midweek we should know how many additional seats we'll have for the weekend and people that can come and have dinner with us. I'm in the process of talking to a couple of chefs right now, so I don't really know what the theme's going to be or what type of cuisine it's going to be, but we know that with so many visitors to the Okemo Valley every year, and especially during ski season, that we can really use some additional restaurants. We've got amazing restaurants, but people trying to get into them is difficult. So if we can add a few more seats and show people the Pettigrew Inn, we're hoping to.
Well, let me give you a little heads up about what happens in the winter with people make reservations and they're always late because the traffic is bumper to bumper.
Okay.
It comes from Killington, from Jackson Gore, and it's all heading for restaurants downtown. And it's such a bottleneck that if they say 6:30, they have every intention of being there at 6:30, and it might be 7 before you see them. Just so a heads up, because
that's good to know.
It gets very, very congested.
Absolutely. For our planning purposes, if we're trying to turn tables, that's going to be helpful to know.
Yeah, because I know people are like, it's hard. It's the traffic, and there's nothing we can do about it. So.
And I'm sure snow conditions also factor into that.
Absolutely.
So depending on what's going on with the streets and things.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I am so thrilled to have you
Thank you.
Part of the community. And from what I know of you so far, you've just been a ball of energy. And I love the way all the community works together and refers to one another. And you're already fit right into that, and it's it's wonderful. And
thank you. I feel blessed to be part of this community, honestly. Everyone's been so welcoming, and that's something that not every community can boast.
Yeah.
So it's been, as a small business and as a new person in such a small community, everyone's been amazing.
Well, Courtney, I want to thank you so much for coming and being part of our community. From what I know of you so far, you've just been a wonderful beam of light. So
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And we look forward to all the good stuff that's going to be coming. Okay, let's go right into our calendar of events. This weekend is the Chester Fall Craft Festival, Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4, and should be good weather. Then Okemo Valley, some businesses, we're heading down to the Big E to represent our region. And then on the 23rd is the grand opening and ribbon cutting for Weston's Playhouse new studio at Walker Farm. I'm cutting the ribbon at 2. And they're going to have all kinds of events from 2 to 5, and we encourage all the community to come and support that. 9/28 to 10/1, the end of the month, is Vermont Antiques Week. In Ludlow. 9/29 is the preview at the Ludlow Community Center, and the show is Saturday from 10 to 4. Weston, their preview is the 28th from 5 to 7:30, and the show is the 29th and 30th from 10 to 5. And Okemo has a preview 9/29 from 3 to 6, and the show is 9:30 from 10 to 4. And also in October 1st, the Vermont Pickers Market at Okemo. That's a new event from 10 to 4. And then we go into the Weston Craft Show from October 7th and 8th. And then the Okemo Bridal Show is October 22nd. And you are going to come with me as my guest for the Okemo Bridal Show this year.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yes. And now with our next guest. Okay, Okay, and now my next guest here is Geoff Hatheway. He's the president of Magic Mountain. Welcome.
Thanks,
welcome
Marji.
to the chamber and welcome to the
It's great to be here.
community.
Yeah.
So you have so many new things happening at Magic.
Yes.
I don't know where you want to start, but
Yeah,
go ahead.
it's been a whirlwind in many respects. We closed on the deal less than a year ago.
Yeah.
And had to open a mountain basically within a few weeks. Try to improve the snowmaking system, try to get another summit lift working, obviously hire people and improve the Black Line Tavern and all the things that are there that had somewhat been neglected over the years. But you know, Magic's a special place, and that's why we got a group of investors together to buy it in the first place, and it's worth every exhausting day and stress and things as we try and put the pieces all together, because what's there and what has always been there is a great mountain, unlike any other, in the southern Vermont area, really. It's like a northern Vermont mountain, plopped down in southern Vermont, so it adds to the variety, of what's here. You've got, Okemo, you've got Stratton, Bromley, Mount Snow, Killington, and Magic is a unique entity unto itself. So we're just happy that we were able to close on the deal, buy it, and really kind of bring it back to life. And that process started last November and continues all the way through this year.
Well, I remember the Black Line Tavern was open and running last year.
Yeah.
With all the improvements.
Yeah. So one of the first things we did, which I got a lot of like, why are you even touching the Black Line Tavern? People love just coming in there, having a drink and whatever. It's like, well, because it's part of a plan and a vision for the place, and we basically took its prior location and really moved it about 60 feet. But that 60 feet has made all the difference in terms of the openness of the space, the view up the mountain. We changed, the bar and the look, and it's just it's been a great gathering place for the community, both people who come up to visit, but also the local community. We've spent a lot of time creating even a day like Thursdays that always going to have local specials and things of that sort. So people who are not necessarily skiers or coming there to play disc golf and things of that sort, have a place they can come in. Yeah,
New too, disc golf. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So we're doing golf the Magic way, which is go out in the woods, go on the trails, and experience the mountain in a really fun way that's affordable. It's only $5 to play.
Oh my!
But we put in an initial 9 holes, and we're planning to do another 9 for next year. But we already held a tournament there, and the proceeds of the tournament went to the UVM Children's Hospital.
Oh, nice.
So it's been nice. We've already had over 200 people play it, really enjoy it. It's a great way to get outdoors with a family, with friends, and people, which is nice for us, that people come back and have a beer or a burger or whatever at the Black Line Tavern afterwards.
And it's something
and it's right there. The deck
good
is
to
right
do
there.
With families
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah. So it's been a nice, a way to get some business going, in the summer while we're doing so much other stuff to the mountain.
Yeah.
So I mean, right now we're working on 2 new chairlifts. We're doing one base to the mid-mountain, which will really open up the place to more beginners and intermediates. And we're also creating a kind of a new beginner area with a Magic Carpet lift. Magic Carpet, great name for us. So I think it changes the profile a little bit of Magic just being kind of an experts mountain to really being a great place for kids, families, girlfriends, boyfriends who don't necessarily ski as much as the other one to come and enjoy and not think, oh, where else do I need to go? They can all find great spots to ski at Magic now. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Tell me about, you have Rent a Mountain.
Yeah.
How cool is that? I'm going to have a party. I'm going to rent the whole mountain.
Yeah. Well, we have a kind of a unique operating structure. Most mountains are open every day of the week. Midweek sometimes it's not really that crowded. So we decided to kind of focus our resources for the general skiing public on a Thursday through Sunday schedule. That may expand a little bit in years to come as we build the business. But basically we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday where we're not open to the general public. So why not take that time and offer it up to a corporation, a small business, a charity organization to, maybe have a fundraiser, get people there for a sales meeting. So basically, for very little money, someone can actually rent the mountain for a day and have it all to themselves. And we will obviously have the lift running. We'll have the Black Line Tavern open for food and concessions and things of that sort. But you basically get a mountain all to yourself for very little money.
Yeah.
So some rich people could probably do it, just have their own private party. But the rest of us,
You have a helipad there?
Yeah. I mean, we did a show with RK Miles
Yeah.
last year where they basically rented the mountain along with one of their vendors.
Yeah.
And they put on a sales presentation for all of their stores and buyers and things of that
great.
sort. They had a blast.
And what about lodging?
Yeah, and lodging, if they want to do overnights and things of that sort, there's lodging right there at the mountain. We don't own the lodging right now, so there's Upper Pass Lodge, there's the Blue Gentian Inn, and right down the road there's obviously a lot of other motels and things all the way up into the Ludlow area, out to Springfield, obviously Stratton area, there's lots of lodging. So that's never a problem for big events.
So we can bring in good-sized events.
Yeah, I think the town of Ludlow should do an entire event there myself. They should all come down. Just rent the mountain for a day.
Let's
So,
come up with
yeah,
a great
so
idea.
we'll
and
come
we'll
up with
do
an
it.
idea for the
Yeah,
chamber to
Let's do it.
do it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, that sounds good. Let's see. Weddings, you do a lot of weddings.
Well, we hope to do more weddings.
Yeah.
I think the changes that we've made to the space inside the lodge, plus we're adding an entirely new deck next spring. So the deck's going to be longer, wider.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great event space. It's already a pretty good event space, but it's going to become even a better event space. And the weddings we've held are just absolutely beautiful right there, in front of the lodge, outdoors with great views of the mountain. And then we have the deck and the lodge on the inside to hold the receptions. We're also, with the new lift we're putting in, the mid-mountain lift, there's a natural area there, which we call Sunshine Corner, which we have makeshift bars during and parties there during the ski season. But that is just an absolutely gorgeous venue with beautiful views, and you don't have to go all the way to the top. But that chair is going to be made so that it can have adequate lift capacity both on the uphill and downhill side, just for weddings,
Nice. Yeah.
maybe a concert and other things that we can do up there, kind of halfway up the mountain, which will be beautiful.
You
So
have a concert coming, don't you?
we've got a concert on September 30th that we're doing. We're doing actually a job fair that same day.
Yeah.
So if people are looking to do some winter part-time work, we've got a number of positions both on the operations side, inside with the Black Line Tavern. So there's snowmaking positions, there's lift positions and things of that sort. But so that's from 9 to 12 on September 30th, Saturday, and then basically I think from 4 to 12 we've got a huge concert afterwards. So it's with multiple bands. It's going to be a lot of fun. But we July 4th we hold a big that weekend. We usually have a big concert there as well, along with fireworks. So it's a good venue for bands, and that's definitely something we're going to be adding to with the new deck, kind of that outdoor venue, because we have kind of a natural amphitheater there in the base area. So it's going to be fun.
Do you do any cheerless rides for the fall?
In general, Magic hasn't in the past, but we are looking for the wedding. We're holding a wedding October 14th there, and the bride and groom want to have a chairlift ride to the top and before the wedding.
Yeah.
And so people can go up and hike down and things of that sort, get a feel for the mountain. So we will be running it for that. We run it sometimes for our volunteer days, where we have the community come out and help clear glades and things of that sort. In general, because we're doing so much operational work to try to get the mountain ready for this winter, we've got a lot of capital projects we're doing. We're not doing a regular day of it, but that's definitely going to be a part of it for next year. I think we'll probably run it for our July 4th fireworks thing. We'll run it at other key times, during the year, but especially during the fall, we'll run it. I think next year for just foliage.
Not this year.
Yeah, but not this year.
Everybody asks me, Where
Yeah,
can I
you know, we're doing so much
Yeah.
from a capital expenditure standpoint in terms of new lifts and things of that sort. We really don't have the you know, we're a
Yeah.
pretty small mountain,
Yeah, and you're starting over.
and we're
It's-
starting over, and we
yeah.
don't really have the resources to, you know,
Mhm.
even though it'd be great to do, to, you know, spend a whole day
Yeah.
getting people up and down the mountain. So this year
Yeah.
we're focusing on really improving our product
Yeah.
for this coming winter, and with new snowmaking and lift service. So, but by next year, you know, with the fact that we'll have the disc golf course open,
Mm-hmm.
we'll also probably have the Timber Quest area open again, which was whole high trees ropes course and things of that
How did
sort.
that go?
So that's it was great in the past
Mm-hmm.
when Magic had it. It was a leased operation. I think that there may be a change in that
Mm-hmm.
structure there, so that we can get that back going for next year, which would be really good. So I think with all of that activity,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we'll definitely probably try and get the lifts going as well for certain times for summer for events, and then definitely for the fall for some foliage, because it's already changing now. It's beautiful up there.
Wow, yeah. Boy, are you busy.
Yeah, yeah.
I am so glad you
Yeah,
took
let's see. I'm even
so-
giving blood.
Oh,
you know,
stop.
that's part of it. That's part of it for what you got to do as part of Magic. You got to give blood as well as
Okay, let's
as
not
well
go
as
there.
soul.
All right, and I know you're going to be at the ski show
Yep.
in October. We're going to be there too, representing the region. So I
Good.
think that's good. You guys will be in the ski area, and then I'll be in this section with all the different regions saying, come to our region, because you can have this one, this one, this one, and this one right in our region.
Yeah,
So,
no, it is. I think it's really one of the unique things that I always felt wasn't promoted enough in the area was, you know, back in the old days, there used to be the Golden Triangle, and that was like, you know, Magic, Bromley, and Stratton all were within 10 miles of each other. But you had Okemo and you had Mount Snow. I mean, there's an incredible variety of
and
skiing.
even Killington, between,
Killington,
you know,
yeah.
Scenic Route 100 is the skiers' highway. That's
Yeah.
why we kind of
Yeah, and we're all
branded
kind
it.
of
And
off
we're-
that.
And it's great because I feel my job is I'm here for the guests.
Yeah.
So if I can give them a great guest experience, because they're, you know, nobody just skis really one mountain for 7 days. I mean, they don't do that
doesn't
anymore.
make sense to do
So,
that.
you know,
yeah.
to say you can go to Killington one day, Okemo another day, Magic another day, Bromley another day. So,
Yeah.
you know,
What
a-
great variety, all within, you know, 20 minutes in general, and it's they're all different experiences, which
Right,
is really
right,
nice. So
yeah.
that, you know, and then people can, you know, decide what they, you know, prefer, if they want to stay longer and do more things. But I think for someone to stay for a week, even a 3-day weekend, and have the choices that they
Right.
have is really kind of unique.
Yeah.
And I agree, it's something that should really be promoted more.
That's
So
what
that's
I'm
why,
promoted as.
yeah, we
That's why
like
you're
that.
here. That's why you're here. 'cause
Exactly,
I wanted to
yeah.
get you in the loop. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, let's all work together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I
You
think
know.
Magic really provides a unique, you know, differentiating type of experience. So, you know, it all adds to the flavor.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's
And then we have all the infrastructure behind it as far as like lodging
Yeah.
and dining.
Yeah.
You know,
a
someone,
lot of good places to go out to eat, that's
yeah,
for sure.
someone
yeah.
said to me at a New York Times travel show, "Oh, I don't ski." I said, "Well, do you eat?" They're like, "Yeah." Well, I
Yeah.
said, "Well, then you got to come for that."
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
it's like there is something for everyone in,
Oh, there
in this
is.
region.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's something we try to, you know, promote as part of how we talk to our customers is that there's a lot to do here. You know, we're not just a ski area. If you want to go snowshoeing, if you want to go cross country skiing, obviously we can do we do snowshoeing and backcountry and all that kind of stuff at Magic. But cross country skiing we don't have. But right down the road there are two great,
Right.
you know, cross country areas.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it is lifting, you know, all the small businesses kind of up and
Right, that's what I
yeah.
believe in. High tide rises all ships,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And even if everybody works together and starts referring to one another too. I go back to that old story with Macy's and Gimbals. I'm saying my age now, but
Yeah,
I'll never
I
forget
remember.
that. But
Yeah.
it's still the truth today. It was like, you know, Macy's, if they didn't have it, they told their people, you know, where to go to Gimbals, that they might have it. And you're like,
Right.
you're sending me to Gimbals, a
Yeah.
competitor?
Oh, yeah.
And it just doubled their business
Right.
because they were there for them, for the customer,
Exactly.
not just for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's great
And-
for us to be able to say, you know, hey, if you want great, you know, water slide and some other things, you know, mini golf and all the things they have at Bromley, for us to be able to say, hey, after you're done here,
Yep,
go
you
check
can
out
there,
Bromley.
yep.
And I'm sure they would say, you
Yeah.
got to check out Magic's Disc Golf Course.
Yeah,
So.
right, right. No,
But that is
you
that
know,
is
it's
what we
for
want to do.
everybody
so,
to work
yeah.
together and package more too. I'd like
Right.
to see more packages like for these shows that I can hand out a
Uh,
package
yeah.
like ski and stay, dine and play.
Yeah.
You know, just something.
Well,
that,
that's definitely something we need to do as kind of a new business. Is reach out more to the local hotels and inns and say we do have ski and stay packages. So actually, I've got a meeting with one of the hotels down in Manchester on that subject tomorrow. But that's we need to do a lot more of that.
because
So.
I can help you with that.
Yeah.
All you have to do is like send me what your offer is,
Yeah.
and I'll blast it out to the lodging for you.
That'd be
and
great.
then they can contact you directly, and you put your own packages
Yeah,
together.
exactly.
And
Everyone
then
can
you
have
let
their
me
own.
know, and I can market it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
that's easy. That's easy to do. So,
Yeah.
all right. What else? Did we cover everything?
Well,
Everything new? We
Oh,
covered?
there's no way you covered everything new, but that's okay.
What else is new that people need to know?
Oh, I mean, I just think the amount of snowmaking we're going to do this year as I look toward winter, Magic used to only make maybe snow on 20 to 25% of the terrain. We're going to really bump that up to about 50% of our terrain. A lot of good grooming, so that's just a good mix of what we traditionally like, which is our natural snow, great expert terrain, and some really good grooming and snowmaking for intermediate and beginner slopes and for those skiers. So it's really kind of changing our profile. So we purchased a bunch of new HKD low efficient guns. So we're also maximizing everything we have and spending less money, but also spending less energy doing it. Magic is was back in the dark ages, and we're finally catching up, which is important for our business in terms of sustainability, but also for the area in terms of sustaining a good environmental, code and things of that sort. So we feel really good about where that's going. There's going to be a lot of fun, new, I think, initiatives that we're going to undertake in terms of letting people see, the woods, teaching them how to get there, maybe do some backcountry things off the other side with Timber Ridge. We've got a good partnership with the person who owns that. So I think there'll be some unique things that add to the flavor of the area that haven't been done before. So we're looking forward to that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And I know you're the guy to do it.
Yeah, well, hope so. We got a great crew. I mean, I'm telling you, the employees we've got are working their butts off. And they're really committed, and they love the place. And I think that's important.
Well, you also have a committed base.
We do. I mean, the community there is strong. That's why our volunteer days, we're getting 50, 60, 70 people out on the hill doing projects. Some just like to work on the lodge and spit that up. Others are out there clearing glades and really making Magic a better mountain, and which is really awesome. And they don't ask for much.
Yeah.
A T-shirt, a beer.
Oh.
That's about it.
That's awesome. That's
They
great.
just love doing it, and
Yeah.
which is great. They feel connected to the place, and I think that's what it should be about. Is that you get a connection to the community, to the mountain, nature, and things of that sort. And so that's what we want to continue to provide.
Well, thank you for bringing it back.
Oh, thanks, and thanks for having me.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was my pleasure.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah.
And we will keep you informed on our website at yourplaceinvermont.com on any events that are going on at Magic and anything new in the region. So check that out. And we're going to have another guest. My next guest is Wendy Knight. She's the new Commissioner of Tourism and Marketing for the state of Vermont. Welcome,
Thank
Wendy.
you very
I'm
much, Marji.
so glad to have you come down and visit us. and
Thrilled to
thank
be
you-
down here.
Thank you so much for coming to our mixer last night at Echo Lake Inn and meeting with our awesome community. Aren't they great?
It is an awesome
I mean,
community.
it's a young, great vibe, and everybody, I'm so proud of them because they all work together and they help one another. And our philosophy in Okemo Valley region is high tide rises all ships.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's been my mission for the last 9 years, is getting them all to work together, and because it will just help all of us. So,
I agree. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
so-
a great opportunity to meet. You do have a great young community, a lot of
Yeah.
interesting people moving in, and setting up new businesses. I was really impressed. I learned a lot.
And they loved talking to you last night.
Yeah, I learned a
too.
lot for content for how we can promote this region as well. So it was great. Thank you.
So tell me, you've been on the job 4 months?
4 months. Yeah, 4 months.
And give us a little bit of background. You came from the private sector.
Yeah, so I have a background in marketing and communications and PR, and I came from the private sector. I had my own marketing firm. I've been in Vermont 25 years. I originally started as a healthcare communication consultant here, and then I moved on to be a travel journalist. So one of the first experiences I had in Vermont is promoting Vermont in the way of being a journalist and writing about the great attributes that we have in Vermont.
So you were in the perfect field and your perfect job.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
wonderful. I mean, you know, it's a really wonderful opportunity to promote Vermont. Vermont is a great state, so in that respect, it's an easy state to promote. People like you in this community in Ludlow and Okemo Valley have really wonderful people in the tourism sector, and there's a lot of natural beauty and great outdoor recreational assets, culture, art. So Vermont really has a lot of wonderful attributes to attract visitors, but also potential residents and businesses as well.
And yet what I think is really important, especially for your role, is you're coming at it from advertising, marketing, and promotion, because that is what we are. That is who we are and what we need. You know, even when I took this job, I came from that background too. I didn't have nonprofit experience, which I don't think you need in the hospitality industry. You need to know how to advertise, market, and promote yourself, your businesses, your region, your
Right,
state.
your community, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to know how to tell stories,
Right.
and you need to know how to reach the people that you want to bring into Vermont, for sure.
And stories are great. That 251 thing
Yeah.
that they're doing with all the towns, I
Yep.
think that's a wonderful initiative. So tell me, when you started, the governor is your boss, right?
Correct.
And he
I work for the governor.
And he said, okay, Wendy, this is what I want to accomplish this year. What are those goals?
Well, the governor's been very clear that he has 3 main policy priorities, and that is to grow the economy, to make Vermont more affordable for Vermonters, and to protect the vulnerable. And so how we work into that from the Agency of Commerce and Community Development, where the Tourism and Marketing Department lives, is we focus on mostly the economic development. Our community development, our housing and community development people focus a lot more on the 3 sort of main goals in terms of protecting the vulnerable by making housing affordable, for example, and communities livable. And so the tourism department, we're charged with attracting people to grow the economy. So when you have a vibrant, thriving tourist economy, that helps to grow the economy. So our job is to bring more visitors to the state of Vermont. That's what we do in the Department of Tourism and Marketing. So our job is to promote Vermont, to tell the stories, to reach the journalists, to reach the people in our important markets in Boston, in Montreal, in New York, and then to bring them here so that they spend money and they fall in love with Vermont, and then they want to come back and they want to have their daughter's wedding here, or they want to buy a second home, or et cetera, or potentially even to move here. I mean, we had lots of stories where people that set up businesses here that move here originally started as tourists. So it's really
Like Courtney, who we had right
exactly
before,
like
yeah?
Courtney. So it's really important that we continue to maintain and grow that tourist economy, because that helps drive the economic growth of Vermont.
I think that's wonderful, and I also appreciate what the state is doing as far as co-op opportunities for little regions like us.
Correct.
You know, where we can't afford to do some things ourselves, but if you're going to a show, we can co-op and join with you. And when you're doing like, I took advantage of a couple Madden Media grants.
Exactly.
You know, where I couldn't afford to do that myself, but with, you know, the state doing 2-for-1 grants and stuff, it was a wonderful opportunity for us. So thank you for that.
Well, you're very welcome. That's our job. That's
Yeah.
what we're supposed to do. And so we try to find unique and cost-effective ways to help the communities and the businesses throughout Vermont, because we know that a lot of Vermont tourism are the small kind of mom and pop, small inns, smaller attractions, and so we try to find ways that we can help promote them. And so one of that you talk about is the Madden Media matching grants, and that allows smaller organizations to be able to contribute and with the funding for the advertising and reach these national audiences, which are quite expensive otherwise.
right.
You mentioned the 251 campaign, so that's the marketing campaign that we launched this summer. What that is we will feature every single town, 251 towns in Vermont, in our advertising campaign. We do a lot of digital advertising, which is cost effective and it reaches more people. And so what we will be able to do is then promote the little towns and communities throughout Vermont who would never otherwise necessarily have been in a marketing campaign.
I love that campaign.
And then we amplify that by the social media aspect of it as well. So we do a lot of social media marketing. So it's not just the digital advertising. Then we compound that and amplify that with a Facebook. We do e-newsletters that go out to 85,000 consumers are on our consumer newsletter. So there's a lot of ways that we work to promote the smaller businesses.
Yeah, and I have the same back end as the state does. I have the EverWonder back end, which has been great for our members because they enter our event on our website and it goes statewide automatically. So I think, you know, having opportunities like that to work together too is a win for everybody.
Yeah, and speaking of our website, EverWonder is a third-party tool we use. So VermontVacation.com, we're in the midst of really evaluating it right now and looking at making some enhancements to it, particularly with the navigation of it. When you think about how people travel and how people plan, they go to websites. So we have to just make sure that we have great representation on the website. It's beautifully visually, but we want to make sure that the navigation works optimally as well, so that people can find the lodging and find the restaurants when they're planning their trips.
Yeah, I only have one little issue for my marketing, and that's if you open up the Vermont Vacation Guide and you see how they market, they have North, Central, and South. I'm half in Central and half in South, so it's like, so I brand ourselves Okemo Valley, South Central Vermont.
Right.
Because if you go just by that guide, you know, you're going to miss half the people, because this region is really 3 counties too. So it's a little a little
and I think there's ways
different.
to look at the planning guide as well, the print planning guide. I know they've made some improvements. It's the official state publication.
Right.
And so we're always looking for ways to improve it.
Yeah. But I'm a big proponent of everything that the state does, and you know, being on the Travel and Recreation Council has been great because I get to hear firsthand, you know, it's funny, when I first started 9 years ago, I just went to it. I didn't know you had to be appointed at first, you know, I just went and nobody told me I couldn't go, right? So
well,
I
good
just
for
kept going.
you.
And that's what I found out. I'll never forget my first meeting. Someone was holding up a byway map. And I'm like, there's nothing in Central or South Vermont. There's nothing. I said, scenic route, you know, Route 100 is like the most scenic thing. And I said to John LaBarge, I said, how do I get on this thing? And so that's what started it. And it was, you know, but that's where I learned what we still have to do. We had a long way to go because I never even knew about that program. So it's hard to get that information and cipher it down, you know?
Well, one of the things we have is we have an industry newsletter, and I've been encouraging people the 4 months that I started to, as I go around the state, to sign up for that because people want to know, and that's certainly one of the ways that we keep people informed is the industry newsletter.
I forward that out.
Yes, exactly. The other, we do have an industry Facebook page, so we're always looking for ways to inform the industry, get feedback from the industry. We're constantly looking for video and photography, so it's really important that we maintain that open communication and the communication in terms of what we need and how we can help you as well.
Well, how can we help you?
You can send us content. We always look for content, so we need you know, your events, we need photography, we need video, we need your stories, we need to know about the new businesses opening up in the tourism sector. Just feed us content.
Okay.
Never be afraid to reach out to us with content.
I have a good lifeline with Phil.
Yep, absolutely. Phil is our communications director. He's fantastic. And so, you know, like I said, we have so many different avenues for how we're getting out that information in terms of newsletters and our website. We also have Think Vermont is the new economic development website, which is focused on sort of why people should move to Vermont and set up a business on Vermont. So we're repurposing information that we have from a tourism perspective on the economic development Think Vermont site as well, to the extent that it's appropriate. So I think that there's lots of ways for people to send their information to us, and then we can use that to tell the story of Vermont. Lots of different stories of Vermont. People have really incredible stories in terms of what they're doing, who their customers are, how they arrived here. So we're really interested in content.
Yeah, I think that's great. I'll definitely do a shout out for anybody who has anything that's even watching this. You know, you don't have to be a chamber member or anything. Just, you know, send it to me and I'll make sure it gets forwarded up to the statewide. So thank you so much for coming, and I'm going to see you next week at the Big E.
Yes, you will.
Okay, you're doing Vermont Day, not me.
I am.
It's a madhouse. Oh my God, people walk like penguins. They can't even, you know, they're like penguins.
Wow, that's
they can't
great.
even get to the desk, though. I mean, it's crazy, but that just goes to show how everybody loves Vermont and they want a piece of it, you know, which is great. So anyway, thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
coming, and it's our pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you very much, Marji.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
And that's it for the show for this month, and we'll see you next month.